So, special votes just dropped, so I promised I'd make a video just going over it real quick, just to give a nice little bow on the election, to have that done, and I can stop talking about this goddamn election. Alright, so the special votes came in. That's all the votes that are from overseas, votes that are people enrolled online, people voting from prison, people who are, what was the other one? People who are voting outside of their electorate. So that was like 500,000 votes, I believe. So it was quite a lot of votes. And it came out to the outcome that, I said was going to happen. A lot of people were saying it was going to happen. It was pretty expected. So National has lost, 1% of their vote. So they've gone down to 38.1%. Labour was exactly the same, which is interesting. Not even like a percentage points off at 26.9. Greens went up by 0.8%. Huge. They get another MP because of that. Oh, so National lost 2 MPs. But by the way. So Greens gone up. This is the biggest seat count they've ever had. Huge for the Green Party. The ACT Party's dropped down by 0.3. Nothing changing there, but we'll talk about the changing in their coalition power. New Zealand First exactly the same, and the Māori Party 0.5% more, 3.1%. That's huge for the Māori Party. But we'll speak to what's actually important about the Māori Party. They won 6 of the 7 Māori electorates. It's huge. So I said before they were going to win them. They won them. They won the 6 electorates, huge. The only electorate they didn't win was the one they stole from Labour, the one that Mika Whaitiri was there. She was a Labour MP. She left the party, joined the Māori Party, and then the Māori Party lost that seat, the only seat they didn't win. I remember I saw a commentator talk about saying, man, if only the Māori Party didn't steal that seat, they would have won all 7. But pretty funny, right? So this creates an overhang in Parliament. So there's going to be 122 seats opposed to 120 because the Māori Party have received far more vote in the electorates than their party vote allows. So they essentially get all their party votes and then they get a couple more. So we've had this before, mostly with the Māori Party, creating those overlaps. I think United Future has caused overlaps in the past. I think that's the only instance that I can think of, in modern, MMP history. But, so what does this mean? This means that the seat counts, let me bring up the seat count. This means that National and ACT together only have 59 seats. They need 62 to win. Remember, there's that by-election that still needs to happen, because the ACT Party candidate passed away during the lead-up to the election, so they called a by-election to happen after that to make it fair. And that seat's probably going to go to National, or either National ACT. Let's say it's going to go to the right-wing bloc, so they're going to get their extra seat, and that's going to create another overhang seat. So there will actually be 123 seats in Parliament. And so the current makeup is you need to get 62 seats to form a government, and ACT and National do not have it. They need New Zealand First. The centre-right nationalistic party by Winston Peters. Winston Peters propping up previous governments in the past. Made Jacinda Ardern Prime Minister in 2017, made Helen Clark Prime Minister in 2005, made Jim Bolger Prime Minister in, what year was that, 1996, maybe, and that is, it's very interesting that he has that power again. It's not the same type of power, because it really seems like the left-wing bloc, they've given up. They're not going to go for and try to convince Winston to come in with them. Winston coming in with, because Winston wouldn't even have the votes to go without the Māori Party, no. So they would need Labour, Greens, Māori, and New Zealand First. Not going to happen. Technically, like a lot of people are talking about, there could be a coalition, National ACT Green, or National, could National and the Green go by themselves on these numbers? What's that, 63? Yeah, they could do it. But obviously they're not going to do it. It's the most stupid thing that they talk about every election cycle. So, what if the Greens formed a coalition with the National Party? Are the Greens going to give up on all of their policies? Are the National Party going to give up all of their policies? They're totally opposed to each other. It's not going to happen. Even to keep out ACT and New Zealand First, it's not going to happen. It's silly, and I'm a Green voter. I wouldn't vote for them again ever. I would never believe them if they ever did that. So why would they ever do that? It's stupid. But the Māori Party could technically go with ACT and New Zealand First, ACT and National, but that's not going to happen either. The Māori Party in the past have supported a national government, but this is a different Māori Party. The Māori Party, used to be a lot more like, oh, we'll support either side as long as we can get Māori concessions. Now it looks like the Māori Party is more similar to Hone Harawera's Mana Party, where it's like, this is an unapologetically Māori party, but it's consistently left-wing. And I think you can see that in the policies that the Māori Party were pushing this election, talking about wealth taxes, talking about various other, policies that are left-wing that, go completely against what National and ACT are voting for and running on. So I'm not going to see it happening. I think it's pretty likely that National, ACT, and New Zealand First will form a coalition. I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. I think Luxon has been laying the groundwork for this coalition the last couple of weeks since the election, and while we've been waiting for the special votes. I don't think, because Winston doesn't really have any leverage. I think it's going to come pretty quick. Winston told this country to hostage in the past, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think we'll have a government within 2 weeks. I think we'll have a government, definitely before the Port Arthur by-election, and because it doesn't matter, like there was the idea that if National and ACT only needed one more seat, maybe they would wait for the by-election to form a government, but that's not likely because they don't need it. Well, even if they won that seat, they wouldn't be able to get there in time. There wouldn't be enough seats. So it's interesting. It's interesting that the Māori Party swept over all those seats. It's interesting that New Zealand First is back. It's certainly wild. What's going to happen? We'll see. We will see what they give up to ACT. Honestly, what National gives to ACT, especially ministerial positions. Like, I wonder if David Seymour will be the Minister of Finance. Unlikely, but he'll have one of those very prominent positions. Winston Peters, I would probably put a lot of money on the fact that he's going to be foreign minister again, just because he has that experience. And I think it's a nice bauble to shut him up. It's take this very high ministerial position now. Shut the fuck up. I don't expect either of them to have Deputy Prime Minister. I expect Nicola Willis, the Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, of the National Party, I should say, to stay on as Deputy Prime Minister. So neither of those parties will get that deputy, I think. And I think you see that a lot when you have these three-way coalitions, that type of thing doesn't happen. I'm thinking in the past of Helen Clark and the Green Party and the Alliance Party and all that stuff. So in the past, the Alliance Party and Jim Anderson, who was the leader of the Alliance Party, got to be the Deputy Prime Minister. But in 2005, he wasn't allowed that because there was way too many parties and he was way too small of a party to come in, and they're like, nah, not Deputy Prime Minister, go away. And so it's certainly interesting. We'll see what happens. I think you'll see now that National is going to cut down a lot of their rhetoric that they were talking about prior to the election. I don't think there's going to be these mass government cuts that National and ACT were both talking about. I don't think that they're going to overturn the Three Waters initiative. I think they're going to keep that in, but get rid of the iwi centric stuff, which is what people are saying as well, right? They're saying that Three Waters is here to stay. It's already on. It's already started. National said it was all about keeping control of assets with councils. They don't care about that. It was only the issue with the Māori, the iwi consent and things like that. That was all part of Three Waters. And so, it's not likely. We will be seeing a lot in the media of people saying, oh, why don't the Greens go National? Bullshit, garbage, why do we even talk about it? It pisses me off every time. It's so annoying. And then, people go the Green Party didn't say no. It's because they can't. Technically the Green Party, they go back to their constituents and they go back to their members and they ask them, what do you want to do, type thing. So it's not for James Shaw to say yes or no, and that's what they say. But then every time in the interview it's oh, James Shaw didn't say no. But no, that's not going to happen. So it's interesting. Huge night for the Māori Party. I've been working really hard on my Māori Party video that I've been working for over a year now, but it was way on the back burner because I was just I had other shit to deal with. And so I think that video could be out in a couple weeks. So, don't hold me to that. But it will be more lengthwise comparative to my Winston Peters video opposed to my ACT video, I think. The ACT video I did a lot of work in, especially I had 3 interviews for that. I reached out to the leaders of the multi-party. They did not get back to me. It was very frustrating. Like I talked to John Tamahari, your former leader, and he is the party president. But it's very nice of him to speak to me. I would have loved to speak to Rawi Waiti or Debbie. Maybe that's why I can't think of her last name. Something Parker. Ooh. Anyway, so that should be out within a couple of weeks, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So let me know what you guys think about the outcome of this by-election. Did it the special votes, did it surprise you? It was exactly what I said 2 weeks ago, so I already told you. So but huge night for the multi-party. I think it's crazy that National doesn't need New Zealand first, because that National needs New Zealand first. There's a great outcome for the multi-party, great night for the Greens, because they got that extra seat, which, is a record-breaking for them. It sucks for National. It's actually probably a blessing in disguise for Luxon, honestly. He doesn't need to give in to so many demands, for ACT. Also, if they only had 1 seat majority, it could cause a bit of an upset if, for instance, say, there's a scandal, someone has to resign, there's a by-election. Think Winston Peters winning the by-election in 2015, stuffing over the National Party then. There was a huge situation, and that could have been the future, of something that happening in a couple of years. So they were probably wanting to bring New Zealand first in regardless of the outcome. But this also, diminishes David Seymour's power over the government, so which I think is good from a left-wing standpoint. I don't like Winston Peters, but from a left-wing standpoint, this is probably the best outcome. Having Winston there slow things down to do less right-wing things. I think we're going to see less tax cuts than National was promising because of Winston. So we'll see. We will see what the outcome is. Stay tuned.